子孫の残し方は生殖によるものですか？
Sure, our mating and reproductive processes are somewhat similar, but they are rather different.
ちょっと違うかもしれませんね。
As you know, when you have sex, you're merging not just bodies, but energy fields. For members of my species, the physical bodies do not even need to connect. They can, and some members of my species will choose to reproduce in that way, but it's not necessarily needed. If anything, it's more for fun, enjoyment. What we usually do is extend our energy bodies. So think of a man and woman standing in front of each other. They will project their energy bodies together. They meet in the space between. And from there, we engage what you would call astral or soul sex with one another. And it's just as visceral, it's just as carnal, it's just as enjoyable as physically having sex. If anything, it's more pleasurable. Because the physical body can only tolerate so much pleasure before it reaches its limit. The energy body has no limit. So we can reach multi-dimensional orgasmic states and sustain them sometimes for hours, if not days. And incredibly potent souls who desire to incarnate within the Sasanian collective are drawn to that powerful bliss that is emanated through the lovemaking. And when a soul chooses to be born into my collective, the man and woman whom are making love will stabilize the unified field, and this soul that now exists in the center of that field, think of it as an orb, will begin to generate a light matrix that grows into a body. Because this fetal development is happening on the energetic level, the gestation period is accelerated. It occurs much more quickly, the formation of the body. When the process is complete, there will be an infant that has manifested, that the men and women are able to hold. And if the soul that has come forth is more evolved, they may already be a toddler by the time the session of merging has completed.
なるほど。子孫の増やし方の別のバージョンとして、例えばクローンを使う技術を使うとか、そういう分身技術を使うとか、そういうこともあったりするんでしょうか？生殖以外の方法が。
Sure. So the creating of another being from our own energy, this has been achieved, this has been done. Cloning is not something we focus on, though. It tends to lead towards serious errors over time.
Serious errors?
Errors, mistakes over time. And of course, you've experienced that on Earth with the cloning of different animals, particularly the lambs, the sheeps, things like this. It was the process of cloning that led to the degradation, the decay of the genome of the greys. Over time, it rendered them sterile. They could no longer reproduce. The DNA was no longer viable. The whole species was made of clones. And that was what necessitated the creation of the hybridization program. So we do not wish to repeat the past, so cloning technology is not something we have ever seriously considered or considered adopting in any way. It can be done responsibly and safely, we say that loosely. Nevertheless, it is not a technology that is suitable for the reproductive means of an entire species.
やっぱり私たちはそのヒューマノイドなので、男性と女性による生殖というのが一番子孫繁栄に適したスタイルだということが言えるんでしょうか？
Oh yes, absolutely. There is a reason why nature makes it so fun for you all.
なるほど、ありがとうございます。あと、内岡さんの意識次元では生死というものはまだ存在するんでしょうか？
生と死。
そうです、生と死。
Yes. But they're not as separated as they are in your Earth experience. We could theoretically live as long as we want to, but we usually choose a new experience around the age of 300. But when our bodies cease to function, which is something we choose, we remain in contact with our world and our Sasanian family. So we do not necessarily see death as an ending. We see it as the turning of the page in the book, leading you from one chapter in the book to another. There's almost no veil between those whom are living and those whom have moved on, as you say. So there is always an ongoing dynamic communication and relationship between the living and the deceased. Some members of my society go through more of an organic death process that's been chosen. This is where the energy body and the spirit body disentangle from the physical body. However, many members of my population and species will simply absorb the physical body into the energy and spirit body, and it's almost as if they vanish completely. This is what you call a full body ascension, which humans have also performed successfully. It is still commonly done to this day within the country you call Tibet.
でその死をある程度体験したらまた別の存在として転生するという道を選ぶ人もいるわけですよね。
Yes, yes. For them, the afterlife process is incredibly conscious. They are just as lucid in the realm of spirit as they were when they were incarnate. Remember that how you die bears a strong influence upon one's experience in the spirit world. So if you live consciously, you will die consciously, and you will become super conscious within the realm of spirit. Some do not take on bodies. They remain as what you would call a spirit or heaven immortal. Of course, some will choose form once more because there's something there for them that's exciting, that's attractive.
転生先としてエササニを選ぶ人とエササニ以外の星を選ぶ人の割合はどれぐらいでしょうか？
It's about 60-40. 60-40 remain, 40% will adventure into new territories. But even if they adventure into new territories, they usually come back eventually. Our world tends to hold a very special place in the hearts of the souls who become a part of our family. And we evolve so quickly that when that soul chooses to return, it's almost a completely different society that is still founded in the experiences that they love the most.
宇宙にはさまざまなスターピープルがいますけれども、そのどこのエリアにも転生は可能なんでしょうか？どういう種族にでもなれるのかということを。
We're going to use a rather materialistic example to answer this question. As you know, that in order to access certain levels of a government facility, you require special clearance. Theoretically, you could explore the entirety of the facility. But practically speaking, you can only access that which you have been cleared to access. If you have a high level of clearance, perhaps there's 100 different parts of the building you can easily enter into. But if you have a low level of clearance, you may be able to access a few sections of that building. As above, so below, as above. If a person only knows and develops the physicality, that's what they will come back to. If a person expands and activates their universal body, well, they can go wherever they like. Some people are very religious and they only understand the concepts of heaven and hell. And for them, there's really only two locations they have access to. So, how you live determines how you will die, and how you live and how you die will determine what you have access to. Just as right now, there's only certain things you can immediately manifest right here, right now, in this experience. Theoretically, you can manifest anything you desire. But right here, right now, there's only certain things you have access to. And those things which you can access right here, right now, well, they're based off of your current energy state.